All right, folks, it's a best of 7 grand finals. Quite a few bucks on the line. I think it's like 230 or something for second place, but who cares about that? Because it's 500 for first. Also, got to give some big love to Diesel Max Power, gifting out more subs. Toss to 1 Lithium's way. Thank you very much for that, Diesel Max Power. But it's game 1 in the last Corsair Cup ever. For the last Corsair Cup finals ever, to the bottom right, we've got the red Zerg player, Nerchio.
Oh, are you kidding? In the top left, as the yellow Protoss. He let Nerchio choose the first map, and now he's cannon rushing on it. It's Neeb.
A fucking legend. This guy's been watching too much Sheezel.
Right? I brought up that he let Nerchio choose the first map. They're supposed to technically veto down to 1, but I don't actually blame anyone who just says, like, pick it. But it adds, like, I feel like it adds so much when then you immediately cannon rush. Like, this guy is just confident. And he has cannon rush people in the past. This isn't like, oh, lol, Nerchio's bad against this, or log him a free win, but damn, it's quite old school.
The question I really had, though, like, I just made a joke about Sheezel, right? But the question really is, like, can Neeb pull off this cannon rush? There's not a lot of finesse. Like, to be clear, the skill involved with cannon rushing has the same skill cap at Grandmaster, I feel, as it does at, like, pro player in a WCS circuit level, right? Like, this is something that Nerchio could certainly lose to. We've seen better players lose to dumber things, and this is okay to start. Now, he doesn't time this out perfectly. There's going to be a cancel. Oh, he tries to snipe the drone. There was some sick focus fire swap out of Neeb. Because, of course, the one thing he wants to prevent is Nerchio just taking another base.
Which is going to be difficult to do with that drone becoming an extractor. A cancel can go down in the natural, and this is... Let's not forget that a cannon rush was legitimate, not just in Bronze, not just in GM, but amongst the likes of Parting years ago. You were forged fast expending anyways. Like, it was a legitimate tactic, so it's not always something funny. But nowadays, especially in Legacy of the Void, not just Zerg's getting better, but also Legacy of the Void giving you more options to defend against this. It usually isn't advisable. Like, even if you get the kill or the cancel or whatever, like, is it really that good?
I do like what Nerchio's doing behind this. He's actually playing calm and not, like, panicking. Kills the probe, that's nice. He's gone for the Roach Warren. Now, this is very interesting. This is a big... I wonder if this is for Nydus Worm. Because if you go for Roaches, you turn this into Ravagers, you can break the cannons. Easy peasy, not a problem. By going for a layer, this opens up a lot of different options. Maybe he wants to go Mutas. 3 Mutas could wreck somebody who has no defenses at home. A couple of Nydus Worms sending some Roaches and Queens to the main base could also be devastating. I'm really curious how he plans to use this layer.
He could, if he was still droning and preparing to transfer drones, only getting enough Roaches to break the cannons. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him just playing a macro game with the gold base actually getting up and running. But yeah, he's still building more and more Roaches. Finally taking out the cannons, sure. Just a single pylon is all he needs to do. But I feel like it's going to be aggressive. The one thing I would have, I think that would have been preferable if it was more Queens. But of course, he doesn't have hatcheries to build Queens, so it is going to be Roaches.
There we go. I'm like sitting here watching. I'm like, where's that Roach speed if you're not going to go to Nydus, man? Like, what's the point of this layer otherwise? But, all right, it's going to be a Nydus. Neeb, though, I think he's kind of in an okay spot for this in terms of, like, he's getting an Immortal back at home. He's got a shield battery coming down here. He's got a shield battery already over there. This is something where, yeah, the Nydus might still hit the main, but if there's 2 Immortals, maybe like a handful of Stalkers, I think it holds. Because Nerchio doesn't actually have that much to put into said Nydus Worm.
Right, and this is... So I talked about how there are more options to break a cannon rush than ever before. There's the Overload drops, and then there's also Ravagers, which, can bust them a little bit easier. But the Nydus Worm still has that problem where it happens just at a later enough time with as few units as possible, really, like not that many Roaches, that if they expect it, if they build Immortals, like, I think it's actually something they can deal with.
No way. So you're going to stop Warp Gate?
This is... Oh, that sucks. Yeah, he's going to cancel
this too. He's got a lot of energy. He could have... Oh, man. He could have potentially got that finished up.
He is just saving his Chrono Boost for the Robo, which I think is still the proper move. Like, losing Warp Gate sucks, but the game isn't going to go longer than this push right here, right now. And producing from a single gateway, as long as you're producing from the Robo as well, might be enough. Like, it might not be so bad. And Nerchio agrees. GG.
Okay, GG. right, game one goes to the favor of Neeb. I love that he technically won with a cannon rush, even though it wasn't really cannons that killed Nerchio in the end. But funny enough, shield batteries keeping all those units alive, and yeah. Well, washing his hands of that, we now move on to the next one. I do want to point out though, because this was a hot topic in chat earlier, the whole like, oh my god, no GGs, what does it mean? It's almost like, because a lot of people interpret no GG as like a rude thing. When I'm watching Nerchio, I almost feel like when he GGs, it's sarcastic. So it's like ruder when he GGs than when he doesn't.
If he GGs with a smile, I always say that's sarcastic, but sometimes he has GGs, and it just feels like he actually thought that was a good game. He has to be very honest with himself. No, we've gone past the point of thinking Nerchio is just a BM guy. He's 3 years ago, I think that's absolutely the truth. But
oh, totally. He's so reformed from what he used to be. Back in the days where like, it's actually what's really funny is he's teamed up with BCQD for the 2v2 tournament, and a long time ago, I remember back in the days where we're starting out, it's the Zotac Cup, we don't really know player relations that well, but I knew that Nerchio and Beastie were not on good terms. They would never fucking talk to each other. They hated each other, and now reformed Nerchio is playing 2v2s with them, man. Like, I don't... It's come a long way.
Mm-hmm. Ready?
Absolutely. Game number 2 kicking off here for the grand finals. See you guys on Abyssal Reef. All right, folks, it's game number 2. And I'm curious to see if we'll see more of the same. To the bottom right, we got the red Zerg player, Euronics Gaming's Nerchio.
In the top left, as the yellow Protoss, he is Neeb.
Do it. Do it. Do it! Yeah. Oh, it's a gateway. Boo.
Well, unfortunately, after cannon rushing someone, the likelihood of them just sending a drone around the lip of the base is much higher. So, especially, I think that the biggest tell that you just don't think of until you are cannon rush is if the probe isn't scout. You doesn't go into the main base. You're just like, wait a second. So seeing this, I think Nerchio is happy. It's not going to be a cannon rush. It's going to go into what looks to be a normal game. But how happy can you really be? Okay, Neeb got you with a cannon rush. Everyone laughed. Everyone was fine. But then Neeb also is going to get you in a macro game. So it's not like you can feel that much better.
Well, I also love that there's probably some degree for Neeb too, where he's like, you know what? Everyone balance complaints about Protoss right now. You know what didn't get changed in 4.0? Fucking cannons. Let me just win with cannons to show you guys balance doesn't matter.
Didn't he do a build with a gateway as well, though? And then he went into a shield battery? Or is that someone else?
I don't know, last time I saw Neeb, he was busy losing to Poke Bunny doing proxy Tempest with shield batteries.
Yeah. Anywho. This probe finally gets what it deserves, to be honest. I think everyone can agree they love seeing a pesky probe die.
I love it. Sorry.
No, I agree.
It's literally shit talk.
I think it's absolutely like when I see a probe do that shit, I'm like, you deserve to die.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
And Neeb should have seen that coming too. Some people, like especially pro gamers, I would say, because you'll see in like the lower leagues, they'll like pull the entire line of workers to kill the probe.
Well, there's I just mentioned it during the break. There's a clip of Golden. Did you check that out on Reddit?
No.
There's a clip where Golden actually cancels the hatchery that's halfway done his natural to use the drone to kill the probe. Like,
oh my god. Well, there you go. So
some people, man, you gotta kill that drone at all costs. Or probe, excuse me.
Right. But then when you get to the pros, I would say that most of the time they don't even bother pulling off. You know, they'd rather you be pesky rather than lose half a second on 4 drones mining. So, but if you get an opportunity, you should take it. Too bold, Neebs. Too bold. This Adept is going to get into scout a little bit more. So sees the third base, gets in the main base. Maybe there could have been a Bailey Nest if it was a trick build, but there was nothing there to see. It is just drones. And Neeb's going into a Stargate after this, so his scouting is basically covered entirely. If you do this, you should see every possible build on the way. First, the Adept sees the third base, guaranteed no 2 base all in. Then the Oracle or Phoenix, whatever pops out. You see the Lings that still scouts and still helps.
I don't know if this can actually do too much, but they do manage to get past that Adept that should have blocked this out, and that should have been an easy hold for Neeb. One small misstep of a unit might cost them a lot here.
Yeah, this is...
Like, that pylon going down is going to be devastating.
This is too much damage. Neeb definitely messed up here. This was not a big committal from Nerchio. He does have himself a little bit supply blocked, so, you know, maybe just taking advantage and then not remembering to build an Overlord, but this was really good.
Yeah, the fact that this is still getting probe kills, stacking probes. I mean, if the Adept and Stalker split, the Lynx could have killed either or, but not anymore. So just looking to get a couple more probes, hopefully on his way out. A little more chaos, lost mining. In fact, actually, sometimes it's really not realized, but the amount of value you get from these probes simply not mining is huge, and that's that dip right there for Nerchio.
Yeah. 5 probes go down. Panic sets in as he hurriedly slaps down a wall because he thought maybe there'd be more Lings. And the lost mining time. Great attack by Nerchio that I'm fairly sure he didn't even think would get that far.
Queen pops out just in time to help chase this off.
Well, 2 drones taken out. To be clear, you know, a lot of emphasis went on how much damage that did. Just like it was obnoxious, but it's not something that an Oracle couldn't tappy tap a few drones and kind of make up and redeem itself. It's not something that like a bad Ling counterattack later on will not, you know, it'll make up for that, you know, and it's not game ending, but it was nice.
Oracles put on their dancing shoes. They're ready to go tap dancing, man.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. 3 drones.
Well, this attack out of Nerchio for the counter might pick some damage up itself. I don't think this will get canceled on the Nexus, but if it picks off the sentries, that'd be really nice. He's setting up some Overlord drops here for a little bit later. He gets past the possible force fields on one side, gets the Adept, maybe? Okay. This is still going to kill 1 unit. Sentry 2 on the left side, maybe?
Come on.
Oh my god, can he not reach that?
What?
Force fields are so broken.
I guess he had force fielded 1 Ling in, because that was definitely being attacked.
Well, he's still going to get it. So it works out. As stupid as that was.
That was almost super cool, though. That shield battery almost saved the right side of the attack, which would have maybe let the Lynx essentially survive. But yeah, Overlords were made of drop Overlords that is, and a lot more Ling.
It's Queens inside the Overlords. 2 of the top side going to get picked off.
Finds it. This looks suspicious. The Oracle should fly back.
Yeah, but at the same time, if these 2 Queens actually unload, these will stay alive for a long time and eventually kill a lot here. This is where the Immortal's going to pop out too. If he takes out the pylon, it's going to be devastating. If the Immortal doesn't get a spawn, Queen's over here going to be a big distraction, but left side getting cleared out. The Immortal's so close to finishing, get it out with the pylon die. Denied.
It doesn't. Even if he could, would it really have mattered? The Lings would have jumped on it, stopped it from moving, and would have died anyways. Neeb just too much of a snowball effect. Like one of the best examples of a snowball. GG.
Okay, Nerchio tying up the series 1-1. Some clever tactics and unique moves. But all right, folks, every 2 games we're gonna be taking a break, so it's that time. Thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the show. This is the last series of the day, and perhaps when we find a bit of downtime, we'll talk more about why this is the last Corsair Cup ever. But all right, as mentioned many times now, it's tied up 1-1 here in the grand finals. Spawning here to the lower left side of the map, it's going to be our boy from Ting, the yellow Protoss, Neeb.
The top right, as the blue Zerg, it is Nerchio.
Man, a lot of people bringing up Sennheiser the second we start talking about no longer being with Corsair. I actually really like Sennheiser headsets. I think the funny thing is, comfortability and wireless, I tossed Corsair still. But what's interesting is, and I've never been shy about saying this, the Corsair headphone mics are terrible, but Sennheiser headset microphones are like some of the best I've ever heard on a headset. I'm not sure why there's such a discrepancy in microphone quality when it comes to these things, but I've seen some streamers stream with the Sennheiser headset and made me think like, oh, is that a professional mic? And then realize it's a headset. So I don't know. Yeah. You guys, there's pros and cons to each, right? It just depends what you're looking for. And I think that goes with everybody and every product. All I can say is at the end of the day, don't fucking shop Razer.
All right, then.
Nobody likes burning cash, except for people who shop Razer.
I've heard 1 or 2 people that weren't sponsored by Razer, although maybe they were hoping to be, I don't know, that said they really liked their Razer, and that it's lasted them a long time. But I personally did not like Razer either. This is not me trying to defend them. It's just, I guess they do have some loyal customers.
Yeah. I don't know. My first ever big buy of any equipment ever was the Razer Banshee headset. Man, I thought that was the coolest thing. You guys go back to our earliest VODs, I'm wearing that thing all the time. But it wasn't comfortable, it was heavy, their customer support for it was garbage. One of my ear cups broke, and I'm like, can I buy a new one? They're like, no, you have to buy a brand new headset. People rip the Razer sponsorship. I don't fucking want one, guys. At this point, Razer to me is about the same as G2A in terms of like, I just do not give a fuck. Pardon my French. Pardon mon français.
You know, if you were going to use that phrase, pardon my French, why didn't we choose an actual French word to use as our curse word? What if bonjour was like a curse? God, bonjour, darn it.
They tricked all of us Anglophones for years. We always thought it was a greeting, but really bonjour means fuck you, and we've been that. Now I understand why relationships are so rocky with the French.
We should use it though as a curse. You make so much more sense. You said pardon my French.
What in the bonjour?
Exactly. So the Adept is similar to last game. With Adept get the scout and the Stargate follow-up get the other scout. But the problem with last game wasn't the scouting necessarily. It was that even if Nerchio or Neeb saw it coming, and he didn't, he actually missed the oracles for the first 10 seconds. Even if he did, he had lost, you know, a bit of the perfect build because of those lings that got in. And then he lost those sentries because the shield battery was a little off. The sentries force fields, you know, there wasn't a second Adept. The oracles weren't back home. Like, tiny little things killed tiny little things that made that attack that followed up so much better. Not something that Nerchio could find again, but it is unlikely because I do almost strongly feel that it was setting Neeb off in the first 5 minutes of the game that resulted in it. Getting those lings in, which he's not doing this time.
I just love that describing tiny little things is literally Zerg.
Yes, it is. And sentries. Sentries are tiny, considering the other Protoss units, I guess. Well, they're fat. They're squat. They're like the dwarves of the Protoss race.
On the scale, though, of the quote-unquote real scale of StarCraft 2, sentries are actually kind of big. Which is weird, because considering they don't look very big at all in game, obviously.
I don't remember what they were.
But okay, as far as things go for the opening here, Nerchio didn't really get in and do much with the lings, but he did get scouts with the Overlord. He knows about the Stargate, so there's no questioning like what's Neeb up to. Does he have some weird all-in on the way? Like, he's got pretty good eyes and everything, and in fact, with the Phoenix only just coming out, yeah, he wasn't even pushed off scouting for the longest time.
Two oracles pop on in. Definitely grab the drones, the gas. Lurker being a little bit off. There's the follow-up of Resident Glaives. Did Phoenix go a little bit before it scouted? It did?
It never got down here, that's right. Yeah, it was sitting on the left side. Well, yeah, Nerchio doesn't know it's going to be Resident Glaives. This is an attack that I like so much more than other openings out of Protoss, but it's also something that can accidentally be thrown into an all-in scale when maybe it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I would say my favorite follow-up, or build order, either one, but it seems to be a follow-up most of the times these days, is the Archon drop still, because it provides you more scouting, more opportunities to control the map, and some pretty strong units microed correctly. But the Resident Glaives follow-up can be strong too. This is something that Nerchio should suspect even if he didn't scout the Twilight Council, seeing that many Adepts. So Baneley Nest is on the way. If Neeb pushed out right now, definitely wouldn't be done, but there's Hydras to be had too.
As Oracles hit to the main, they can get some kills before getting pushed out, that's for sure. But not too many, it appears. The three gonna send them back in. As the Adepts start coming over, those Oracles become really valuable in terms of going back in there for round 2, but this is a timing that might not be so sweet for Neeb. Hydras in low count will die to this. If Neeb's consolidated all of his Adepts and the Oracles together, Nerchio's not gonna take such a great fight.
That was a little dangerous of Neeb. Okay, killing the creep tumor is non-committal.
Don't let that... Yo.
Yeah, definitely not. But it's more that he was still on creep, and the Oracles hadn't scouted the lack of Banelings until they cast that Revolution. It just... I don't know, I feel like if you were more unlucky, there'd be Banelings rolling up on you now. But there weren't. Just Lings now getting the cover. The Adepts are gonna have to shade through just to get some economic damage done, otherwise just gonna die to the Lings. Not very much...
This is that category, though, where this really wasn't worth the attack. Neeb now down in supply by a pretty significant amount, and with no real great follow-up, leaves himself vulnerable to this counter. Nerchio's also going for Lurkers, and if you guys haven't seen, Neeb has been struggling with Lurkers, specifically Lurker drops. That's how he lost to Scarlet for IEM. It's how a lot of Protoss players actually losing to Zerg right now, so... he's going to have the tools to deal with like maybe a head-on fight if Nerchio wants to get advanced tactics on this. This could work out really well for Nerchio.
So you know what's... Oh, well, actually, never mind. Okay. He should be appropriately afraid of the counter, regardless of how large it is. You know, he lost his army and Nerchio really didn't. But I wondered if he thought it was a Ling Hydra all-in. No upgrade, no fourth base, no Lurker Den, because he kind of scouted that. But there was a Baneliness that he scouted, was the Evolution Chamber, so I think he just took the army that was there seriously. And this is going into a longer Mac.
Well, Colossus actually... Ever since I saw a hero do this, man, my faith has been regained. I think well-controlled Colossus can actually help take on Lurkers when done correctly, but obviously not easy to pull off. Or some pretty perfect micro. Spinecrawl in the mineral line looks a little bit odd, because of course that can't reach the Spore Crawler, or like the air like a Spore Crawler could, but it will buy him time if adepts start transferring around, which is something he'll certainly have to worry about later. So we see another Spinecrawler down here in anticipation of this. I like this. It's such a... Like, one Spinecrawler is not a lot, but could buy you that precious time to pull the drones away.
You're talking about the size of the units. How tall is a Spinecrawler?
Well, not very, considering, like, would you consider a person's hair?
What?
Like, you don't factor someone's hair into their height, right? And that's basically what the spine is, coming out of the ground.
No, I'm factoring, because I'm trying to think if they could potentially poke at an air unit if they were tall enough. But I don't remember what they were on the real scale.
By that logic, Roaches should be able to stack on top of each other, reach air units.
I've always been on top of that logic if Roaches could stack, but I feel like they're not cheerleaders and they wouldn't do a good job of it. Anywho.
I want to believe.
The Lurkers are right on top of the base, and that's already a bit of an unfortunate timing for Neeb. It just wasn't quite there. If they were still in that choke, not touching the Nexus, well, that's fine. Neeb can buy a lot more time, but they were right on top of the Nexus. It dies.
Oh, he's running behind the army. He's got these Lurkers sitting for that low ground, which could be really good to hit the Colossus. He surrounds this.
There we go.
Nerchio's looking to just bully Neeb into submission, and this... Oh, this is not going to go well. GG. Woo!
Yeah. Okay.
Nerchio secures the 2-1 lead, and like I said, it's not just... This isn't specific to Neeb, and it's not a balance point, but we are seeing Protoss players find weakness in dealing with Lurkers in a lot of these situations. Part of it might be, as you brought up, Neeb had scouted everything except a Lurker Den, so it didn't look like it was going to be some big Lurker all-in. But at the same time, even if he did know, would he have handled that much different? Would he have handled that much better? Because, granted, I've been casting a fair bit of Neeb without you lately. I am and stuff, but in all those games against Scarlet, it's death to Lurkers, man. Death to Lurkers and more death to Lurkers.
The struggle against Lurkers is really quite real for most Protosses, but in that game in particular, not being in front of the Nexus a little bit more was maybe problem number one, or probably number two, rather. I think the first problem was the Adept usage. Neeb is... Yeah, that too. I've noted, like, Neeb is usually so good with how he chooses to use his Adepts that even if he doesn't use them, it's often better than if he had. It just is smarter. That game, he had to. They were surrounded, they shaded forward instead of backward. And that was a bad start for him.
Well, we're getting into the next map here for Ascension to Ire. Quick shoutouts again to Dove and Wolf. Or no, not Dove and Wolf. That's right. You got dethroned earlier by Demerzel18. Okay, I can't read your name, but the guy down here in the Bit Boss slot. The space for rent here is going to be available for whoever's Bit Boss at the end of stream today. So if you got some silly pictures, a banner, you want me to just write your Twitch name on a piece of paper, I don't care. Let me know, and at the end of the stream, whoever's Bit Boss gets this part of the monitor. And hopefully, guys, whoever wins it can enjoy it. Maybe the last one was a bunch of cats. I have all the pictures here still. I kept all of it, man. So there's like Gandalf memes. I forgot there's that one of all of the cats that we put together. There's the picture of you. The Terminator's a dick, making that, oh, would you date Rifkin face? Then there's, what is this? Someone in the field. Can't remember what that one's about. Yeah, there's a lot of good memes on this picture list, I guess, but they're all taped together. I don't want to wreck them, pull them apart. But okay, we got everyone joining us in the lobby. So Neeb versus Nerchio, game 4. As soon as they're ready to go, we'll hop into Ascension Ire. Get your wubs ready, guys.
Wub, 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 wub.
And I guess, well, we are going to have an extra second here. Quick reminder that all the replays from today will be sent out to our subscribers only. So if you want these replay packs, you want to learn from the players, copy the builds, you name it, consider subscribing to the channel. See you guys in game. Brajasher, thank you for that sub coming in here with that Twitch Prime. Glad to have you on board. We're getting to game 4. To the top left, he's down at the moment in the series. Time to watch him bounce back. It's the yellow Protoss, Tings Neeb.
In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he is Nerchio.
All right, so for Nerchio's sake, I want to believe that like a Lurker win is not a once-off thing, and that he's got more of those in his back pocket. We came into this series, a lot of us expecting and favoring Neeb to win, and I don't want to start getting down on that yet. He's only down by 1. It's a best of 7. We got quite a few games to go, guys, but that game looked so convincing, and you brought it up, and I'm going to actually reiterate this point. Rather than the Lurkers, I think a big part of that had to do with how Neeb handled his units, and maybe if he goes down a different route, a different avenue, the eventual potential Lurkers won't be nearly as difficult to handle. We'll find out, because I doubt... One thing that has been pretty concrete about Neeb is he rarely makes the same mistake twice. This was most obvious back in the day when the Mothership Core was still a thing. He would always skip. He was always greedy. He would always skip the Mothership Core until he lost to not having it. Then he would have that Mothership Core out first thing, ASAP, in every subsequent game. Like, he's a guy who very quickly corrects his mistakes. So I can't imagine he repeats this.
Well, if it is an off day, I can imagine him making mistakes consistently with different builds. You know, at first, in the first game, it was not having the wall. And that's unfortunate, but it happens. Second game, he used these adepts incorrectly. Unfortunate, but it does happen. And then there's other things that can happen. You know, go for a War Prism build, you lose to the War Prism. Unfortunate, but it does happen. And that's just a bad day, right? You miss out on some crucial elements that you usually don't miss out on. But usually Neeb doesn't. Usually Neeb's adepts are perfect. His walls are already down, and his War Prism micro is good. So it could just be lucky, you know, 2 games where Neeb gets kind of a snowball on himself. He misses one step and then misses the next 5, or Nerchio just knows how to really throw Neeb off. Because certainly that's always been a weakness of his. You brought up the Mothership Core, and while that was the literal in-game weakness a lot of the times, it was also just, you know, Neeb couldn't handle. He always got a little too flustered. Years ago, that is. But that was his main weakness. He always get flustered against cheeses.
By the way, someone brings this up in chat. All Things Space says, Lurkers could use that +3 range upgrade from Co-op to put them more in line with Terran tanks.
No.
They already got a range upgrade built into them, man. They don't need another one. Blizzard was like, hey, you know what, Lurkers? Okay, they're going to require a Hive Tech upgrade to get more range. And then about 2 weeks later, they're like, you know what? Let's just give it to them for free.
Yep. Yep. I think it's safe to say right now that Zerg doesn't need a buff. And that's not necessarily balance wanting and saying because they're 100%. They're not. It just is of the races here that they're not the ones that need a buff. So it's okay.
Actually, the one time you could argue that they might need some looking into would be, you know, Mac versus Terran right now. It's looking better for Terran, but I'm waiting for the day. I really want to see somebody with Hive Tech Lurkers that have digging claws basically drop Lurkers on tanks or something. Like, it's gonna be so gross to watch that actually work.
Maybe. That does sound kind of cool, the drilling claws, but I don't know. You're right,
well,
Mech is looking a little bit stronger.
What do Widowmines have to do with that situation?
No, digging claws.
They all got the same name. It is so stupid.
No one cares.
Sorry, I meant to say evolve adaptive talons. Excuse me, that's my mistake. Stupid naming system. I'm still mad. Like, we really should have gotten people like riled up on Reddit and like gotten a riot going about the Raven, not the Raven itself, which is garbage, don't get me wrong, but about the names of the Raven abilities, man. I'm still not down with Interference Matrix. Scrambler Missile was so much better.
I just want to call it Matrix is the problem. And then you get
well, if you say
Matrix.
Like, if you say Matrix, I'm just gonna be thinking of Enzo from Reboot. Like, hello?
Really?
When he grows up and he changes his name to Matrix, dude.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just like, really?
Glitch gun. Actually, oh shit! 2018, the reboot's supposed to be out sometime this year. The was it the Guardian Code or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I'm not too excited for that one. I wish I was.
Fuck up. Sorry.
No, I wish I was. It just it's like the Power Rangers reboot.
I didn't mean to. That was just like a knee-jerk reaction. Like, I just.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we do have an adept attack coming out of Neeb. It's not as committed as last time, but it's probably just as likely to not get kills. Paired up with the oracles, looking for a bit of damage maybe. It just clears up the tumors again.
This is not as many adepts, but same process. Revelation, oracles, or adept standing around and then shading in to get a scout. So if he loses all of them, that's still not ideal. It's not as big of an investment loss just for not much at all. And he gets maybe a faster robo, a faster robotics bay because of this, which would have helped in the last game. Another immortal, one more colossus to take out those lings would have been a big difference.
No. Not losing anything. Neeb doesn't dive in. This is not... I want to say this is a better thing, but at the same time, it might not be, right? Because at the same... Like, while else goes on, Nerchio, because he's not being attacked, because he's not being forced to build anything, he's just droning, and droning, and droning. And he's going to be on, like, 90 drones. He's going to be on, like, 4 bases. This is a sweet spot for Zerg to be in.
Yeah. It does seem, by the way, that Protosses are... And I find that surprising, not just because I think Immortals are great, you know, and that's my only... validation, but because at the beginning of Legacy of the Void, when Lurkers were the most popular unit composition, it was about the mass of mortals. You would get a faster second robo, or 2 mortals at the same time, 2 robos at the same time, and then you would just get charge immortal, and that seemed to work out okay. I guess Protosses were still thinking that they were at a lower win rate, so maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm surprised that it's gone to Colossus, is what I'm getting to. As we see Neeb trying to get stripped to Colossus, even pushed off the Twilight Council. So, Colossus seemed to be the way to go now.
If you're misremembering, does that mean there's no Mr. Remembering?
What's the Futurama?
Is there a Mrs. Quico?
There you go, Mrs. Quico. Yeah. So, yeah. We do have charge finally on the way, and it looks like the Colossus count, speaking of immortals, the Colossus count is it's on the way to something pretty... It can hold in a choke, for sure.
Neeb left the middle of the map for no reason.
While he screams, I am the greatest.
I know, I'm the greatest.
There you go, greatest.
God, I love Futurama. Every time we get into these, like, small references, I just want to immediately go back and binge watch, like, season 3.
That was the best season. I've come to realize this, rewatching it every so often.
There's what kills me is the later seasons, where, like, clearly, like, what sucks is the show had been canceled officially and brought back and canceled and brought back, like, movies, whatever. They had really good once-off episodes, but overall the seasons got really weak. But things, like, early on, like, Mars University and stuff, man, those were, like, the greatest episodes.
Yeah.
I still think my favorite one was they're talking about, what was it? Soylent Cola. How's it taste? It varies from person to person.
Clever. Soylent is people. Alright, so we got into the stage of ZVP. Alright. Alright, this is awkward. So, I was going to describe the stage of ZVP that we're at, but what happened instead of Neeb controlling the map, Nerchio bypassed his army entirely.
This is GG? Oh,
and that's
man.
game. That is so bad. So, seriously, like, explaining why was Neeb even out there? Like, what was he doing? Because I'm sure a bunch of people are going to ask. That's usually what you can do. When you get to, like, 3 Colossus and a sizable ground army, you can take control of Ascension to Ire and force them to play scared. We've seen that so many times. And instead, Nerchio was like, well, I guess this pathway's open, and like, caught him.
And I immediately see balance complaints in chat, but guys, like, there's so many things to consider here. Like, Neeb being out of position, Neeb not having detection, Neeb letting the Lurkers in. I mean, these are things that should not have been the case at all.
Yeah.
So that GG, mistake. It's abrupt, but not at all unexpected. We're going to go to commercial break, though, guys. It's game number 5. When we get back, Neeb is on his last life. We'll see you soon. All right, blow my mind, Zombie. We're back from break. Sorry, what am I supposed to know? What's going on?
That if you type colon and then a prefix of a channel's moats, you can scroll, you can auto tab through it, like auto complete.
Oh, no, that's cool.
Isn't that so cool?
Well, I type colon BAS for base trade and it just gives me panic baskets.
Wait, no.
Oh, wait, the prefix. You're right.
Yeah, the
excuse
prefix.
me.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I was thinking you type channel name, not the prefix. Okay, that's cool, though. That is cool. That's like when I learned if you can search stuff on Twitter if you type, like, from colon and then, like, at whatever. So if you want to find out every time Zombie Grub types cat on Twitter, you type in the search cat space from colon at ZG Gaming, and I'll show you every time she's ever tweeted about cats.
People are gonna go check now. Ready?
Yeah. You can get a lot of results, guys, I'm sure. Battle on the Boardwalk. See you in game, guys. Yo, yo, yo! We are back, and it is possibly the last game in the series. He's up 3-1 and looking just fine while doing it. To the top left, we got the blue Zerg, Nerchio.
In the top right, as the yellow Protoss, it is Neeb. Well, Neeb is on the ropes. Strong game number 1, and then tons of mistakes the next 3 games. I really thought the second game was excusable. You know, you let the lings in, and then the more lings come, and then more lings come. It's a tough game to come back from. But the next 2, big mistakes on his part, just purely and entirely. Not tiny little ones that kind of unfortunately led up to something, but huge ones. Adepts dying in the numbers of 10 or 12, and then last game having his army in the wrong position. Not just in the wrong position, you know, maybe you should have had an observer seeing where that army was coming, but also is Colossus derped out and we're left behind against Lurkers. I mean, that was just the most terrible army control we've seen in a while from Neeb, I would say. Army control being knowing where your army is and making sure they're not running off to do whatever. Just not typical mistakes from Neeb.
Yeah, I guess it's... Yeah. For me, when I think about Neeb, it's like partial control of the army, less about macro, and more about usually map awareness. So when I see him make mistakes like that, I do get a little bit worried. But at the same time, we watched him, he came out of the gate so strong. Like, we know Neeb's not slacking off today. His series versus Showtime was just pristine. It was perfect. Maybe it's a matchup thing. Maybe it's a Zerg thing. I don't know. But I'm just surprised to see Neeb making some mistakes that don't feel matchup related, I guess, if that makes sense.
It's very deja vu, because this is exactly what we were talking about when he lost against DNS. It just didn't feel like Neeb. Because even if Neeb loses, if he's playing like we expect him to, it's usually a chink in the armor, as opposed to, I don't know how to like analogy this, like him throwing off his armor. Like, it just feels like it's entirely his fault, not someone else exploiting him. Except for that second game, which I still think is just Nerchio's good call. But anyways, it could be the matchup. Protosses, I think, are... you know, low-key complaining about this matchup because, you know, there's so much emphasis on PvT, it kind of gets, like, you know, buried. So, like, it could be.
I like the idea where it's the equivalent of writing a letter to Santa, but to Blizzard. It's like, Dear Blizzard, I know that I've been a bad boy this year and destroying Terrans, but I would love if you could get me some balance versus Zerg for Christmas. Maybe a bike too. With regards, Protoss.
Something like that, yeah. But it doesn't... I don't know if I even look at that and say, like, well, clearly that was Lurkers being a little too strong. Like, what had he done better? That was all mistakes for him. We do have an entirely different build coming through here. Or no, do we? No, it's just a target opener again. Well, but the Nexus of the gold does make it a little bit different.
Well, so this is really important that he's getting the shield better. First off, thank you, by the way, Sir GeForce, for the puns. I'll read those out in a moment, man. But the fact that he's getting shield battery to the south, like, he has no eyes on this. We normally see a pylon at least keep vision on what's going on with the rocks. Neeb has no way of knowing what's going on down there, and he can't reinforce quickly. Just like every other person who takes that gold base, it's really far. It's out of the way. Warp-ins maybe, question mark, but for the most part, like having that shield battery to make sure you don't lose all your probes because you're not looking for 1 second, that's a big deal.
What we've seen, I think, is very clever. It's not just a shield battery down there and, you know, production, but also, yeah, what Neeb's doing, you build a wall of gateways. I mean, it forces you, I think, to build more gateways than you usually want with bases, unless you're planning over 2-base all-in. But it does provide a lot of safety, and you can afford some extra gateways because you are on a gold base. You don't need to make as many probes. So there's that wall. Now it's extra safe against a Ling Flood. You still need eyes to know if there's, like, also Hydras coming, of course, but that's pretty safe.
Oh, I don't know how I never noticed. It's like skidoos on the map. But why would you have these here? This is like the smallest lake you could possibly... You could drive 3 seconds on these things into a rock.
Oh my god. I've been playing Civilization like every day, just one game, and then realizing I'm never going to get victory and giving up. That's actually what happens every single time. But there's like sometimes you get the small lakes, right? And then the advisor's like, build a harbor. And I'm like, well, I guess that wouldn't be bad for trade. But then you try and build something at that harbor, and it just stays in the lake, and you're like, oh yeah, I should have thought about that one.
Mistakes are made.
Yeah. Anywho, Oracle survived. This workload wasn't quite done, so nab a couple of quick kills. It's nice.
Phoenix can get an Overlord or two, which would be really nice too. These Oracles coming back home in case the Ling's stuck around, but the Adepts are warped in behind the wall, so all secure on the southern front for now. In the meantime, Sir G-Force has been cheering bits on bits on bits, and he's actually the bit boss right now, so thank you very much, dude. How do you find Will Smith in the snow? Look for Fresh Prince. What was a more important invention than the first telephone? The second one. What's the best thing about elevator jokes? They work on so many levels.
It's pretty good.
See, that last one's left me a little salty. Elevator in my building's out. I live on the 7th floor. Ugh.
Exercise, man.
Yeah, or never go out. Easier.
Yeah, you know, either way. Oh, so, you know, my friend was a little tipsy after taking shots of the board game. She was trying to go to sleep, but she really wasn't. So my other friend was telling her jokes exactly like that. And it would be like, you know, really bad ones, like, what's the best thing about the Swedish or Switzerland flag or whatever? It's a big plus or whatever, like, you know, those type of jokes. And every single time my totally drunk friend would just start laughing and giggling in the room for like minutes on end.
I'm really glad that you thought about that promote, because like the map was pretty dependent on that joke making sense. What's up?
The map?
Or not the map, the country, excuse me. Associated with the map, there you go. It's like big Zealot warp in here with Archons. Nerchio's gonna be run ragged. Let's not forget, these Oracles can get back in and get some damage done too. Clearing out most of the Lings, easy peasy charge hits on right into those Roaches, and there's a second warp in on the right side through another warp prism. So Nerchio's got all of his units entertained in the main, but really he's got almost nothing to stop these Zealots here in the natural. So he's forced to pull everything off mining and get back to the main base.
This is already doing tons of damage. Like, Neeb's getting some serious revenge here, and I just like to point out, this is why I like the Archon drop follow-up so much more. Now, this is a really well-timed attack. You know, it was with charge. Yeah, right? That's how I'm going to take away from this one. It is more than just the Archon drop. He planned to do a charge attack with this that, if it was just a couple of non-charged Zealots or just the Archons, Roaches are fine. That amount of Roaches is perfect. But it was more, and the damage is really being done here.
The thing is, he hasn't actually killed that many drones, but all things considered, everything Neeb does is like, he's trading out minerals for anything gas-related. Now he's got more Archons coming in. Like, this has been such a cost-effective engagement for him, and he killed a base. Great. He's done a lot of good damage trading for the army. Great. But really, he didn't get to the workers here, the meat of the issue. Nerchio still has 62, something behind this to recover off of 3 bases with. If he can start pushing back this Warp Prism and stop letting this get so crazy, I think he's actually in an okay spot, all things considered.
That loss of natural is definitely going to affect him, as, of course, Neeb's also on 4 bases. Well, I'll get into 4 bases, I guess. 2 more Robos being added on, going to very strong ground-based army. And continuing to harass with the Warp Prism is going to keep any counter back at home. And any desperate attempts to get tech, you know, a Spire goes down or a Hive starts pretty early, that Warp Prism would hopefully scout it.
There we go. There's some worker damage getting done. 6 range pickup is pretty nice. Oh wow, so this is triple robo production?
Yeah. 2 + 1 = 3.
Wow, dude, you should go on one of those quiz shows. You're really good at math.
Thanks. That's what they brought up like 40 seconds ago.
No, I'm just agreeing with it. Man, I've actually been watching 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown lately. It's like a British panel show, and I guess it's I guess Countdown's like a real show, but they do like their own version of it. And some of these people are so bad at math, dude. It blows me away. Like, granted, you're a celebrity, your life doesn't revolve around mathematics, but like 100 times 2 is 300. You're like, wait, what? No.
I don't understand because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, all you need to know, 100 times 2 is not 300.
Well, yeah, okay, but I just don't find it like, you know.
Rich people don't need to be smart people.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you, Greek by the way, for the 5-month resub, and Diesel Max Power gifting out more subs. He's like a New Year Santa Claus.
Why is it called 8 out of 10 cats? Yeah, whatever. The income graph is largely in favor of Neeb, who is continuing to expand to a 5th base and going for the kill move. The charge ups on the main aren't getting too much done, but a lot of Hydras have to be pulled back for that. These Immortals, oh my god, they're gonna wreck the Roach army. Nothing's gonna be able to defend those Hydras.
He's moving towards Spire, which would have been great if he had time to get some mutas out, because realistically, charge lots and Immortals don't shoot up. But yeah, 8 Immortals is a bit much. Nerchio taps out, and Neeb starts fighting back.
Neeb fights back.
Man, you don't know about 8 out of 10 Cats, though?
Nope.
Really good show, but yeah, once in a while they do Countdown, and Countdown's like a British game show that's like, it's an old British game show. They give you like random numbers, and like you got like 30 seconds to figure out how they add up to like a certain number, or multiply or subtract or whatever. So, I don't know. I just like it because I like British panel TV shows. I freaking love British panel TV shows. Those and Japanese game shows are like my 2 favorite things.
Well, it's so confusing because it did sound like you said 2 different game shows.
Well, 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown is one show.
Yeah, so now I like the phrasing.
BaseTradeTV does Jeopardy or something.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are just joining us here on the cast, it's 3-2, still in the favor of Nerchio. Neeb cannot afford to lose another game, as this is only a best of 7. $500 riding on the line for first place. Quite a bit of cash on the line. Also, I've noticed we've had quite a few, as I mentioned Zombie ago, quite a few notable names popping up in chat. I don't want to shout you guys out in case you don't want to be known, but just thanks for joining us. It's good to see you guys here. It's cool seeing a couple check marks once in a while.
Yes. Thank you, Barack Obama, for blessing us.
Yeah. I was just going to bring up, though, I noticed there are no Terran. It's all Protoss and Zerg that keep chiming in chat, though. Namely the Zerg, for the most part. Why
would Terrans watch us, tournament with no Terrans?
Feels bad, honestly. Man. Feels really bad, man. All right, it's Catalyst. See you guys here in game. Welcome back, folks. Continuing on here with this best of 7, last ever Corsair Cup Grand Finals. Spawning to the top left side, we do have this blue Zerg player, Nerchio, leading 3-2.
The bottom right has the yellow Protoss. He is Neeb.
Getting a lot of good games out of these guys. Still go back to that first one where Neeb cannon rushed, and I'm like, do it again! Do it again!
I think there is a safe time where he could after so many games. It's just as unlikely Nerchio would scout for it again. But it's once off there.
Well, as this unfolds, first off, thank you to Chisina for the 7-month resub. Go Bugs, beat the religious aliens. Wow, that is accurate.
Well, okay, that's weird. I didn't consider Protoss to be religious.
That's kind of what the Kala is, really.
But religion is having faith in something that may or may not exist. No. Like, you can't prove it, but the Kala is literally proven to exist.
Well, maybe faith hasn't proven to exist yet. You ever consider that?
No, that's not. But that's no, that's what I said though. Like, It may or may not exist. You can't prove it.
If the good pastor Joel Osteen can tell me that God, smiles upon... Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to start offending people. Let's talk about the prize pool for this to break down because it has been a little while, guys. $1,000 in total for this tournament. We're paying all the way down to 8th place, but the small chump change doesn't matter. There's $500 for first place, $230 for second place. That's what these two are playing for right now. This is, of course, made possible thanks to Corsair, thanks to the folks over at Twitch that helped give us a couple of bucks for these monthly finals all throughout the year. And, of course, a little bit of shout to Rifkin on this last one, sacrificing his paycheck to bring this all the way up to $1,000. Gives us a pretty good tournament to round out with. But,
whoa.
Okay, taking some of that edge off. Yo! Wait, why don't I see this in chat?
I do.
I can see the cheer, and I see him type, this is how you test stream delay, but I don't actually see the cheer.
No, I see the cheer 10,000. I love you too, Rifkin. I love you too. And you as well, Zombie Love.
Interesting. Yeah, I see it on Streamlabs. It's just not in chat. Anyway, sorry. Perplexion aside, yo, guys! Lithium X 4900. This guy just basically threw $100 in cheers our way. Thank you so much for that, dude. As well as Puyo BYOC for the 14-month resub. But get the fuck out of here! We're celebrating Lithium, dude. That's 10,000 bits. That's a lot of bits. It's a shame he didn't do 10,001 bits though, because he would have snagged top bit on the stream. But you know.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for the bits. All right, Nerchio's getting downright aggressive. This is bad. This is bad news, Bears. That piling going down is going to stop the Adept from finishing. Oh my god, the timing. Woo! Okay, with 2 Adepts, he can actually chase around and maybe secure his natural base while he tries to get the pylon back up. He didn't want to leave this unguarded, so that's what the second Adept comes in, and he even pulls one back across from the map. Nerchio really just scared the crap out of Neeb. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, take it back to the second game. There's, a couple more lings in this, and they did do a lot of damage. They even held the wall from being put down again for a few seconds. That really sets the panic in, like, are there 20 more lings? But this time the wall was set, with as much calmness as possible. Adepts just clogging that hole, and more lings do not get in.
This was, for Nerchio, like, not super devastating, but they did cut some workers to make this happen, so you kind of give up that really sick Zerg greed of like 90 drones. So I don't know if this was worth it necessarily, but it almost was. Like, this was so close to spiraling on just a small handful of Zerglings.
Yeah, of course. If those other lings get in there, they might not end the game, especially if he was already starting to drone, but they kill the Adepts and they kill enough probes to certainly mean the end of the game. But now the gateways are done, more production, enough Adepts to hold. Following with the Twilight Council. Kind of hope it's not Resident Glaives. I'm usually so, I trust Neeb so much to use Adepts correctly, but last time we did this, they did die. Terrible, terrible death.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see if this goes better for him. I was just going to bring up, we had a pretty funny donation that I missed through the Lithium hype. $3 coming out of Texas is gone. There was a farmer who made his living by selling cows. Sadly, some wolves broke into the field and chased the herd of cows up to the hill to the edge of a cliff. The stakes have never been higher. Because they're up on the cliff, Zombie Grove, you see. So they're physically elevated high. Well, I blew air out of my nose, Texas. Thank you for the $3.
No. No. I particularly hate those jokes that take a long time to set up. If you make a fast quip and I don't find it that funny, I'll just be like, oh, good. But if it takes that long, I'm just gonna, it better be good.
2 sentences. What is your definition of long? You must be easy to please.
2
I'm just saying.
More than 1 sentence.
All right. The Adept setting up over to the natural probably could afford to just transfer through. Instead, it's just going to kill the hatchery at this rate. Drones transferred away. There was a small attack towards the third, but that got cleaned up by the oracles, so Neeb's kind of okay to focus on this. Now he's going to transfer without killing the hatchery!
But this time he kills a lot of lings and gets on top of the drone line. It's like so much better than that second game. Third game, whatever. It's quite unbelievable. GG. GG.
No GG. Actually, so on the topic of really long jokes to set up, right? I won't do it here now, but I did my train conductor joke while I was playing VR chat the other night. And what was great was, like, it took so long that I actually got to watch a crowd form around me telling this joke. Hits the punchline, and I also got to watch a crowd disperse immediately around me. Just like, fuck, I waited so long for that? That's so stupid. Rifkin, you're the, like, the, boo, like, man, I've actually,
wow.
Have you tried VR chat at all yet? I've been having some fun with that.
No, I'm not gonna try it.
It's good memes. You should. But okay, folks, it's time for a commercial break. We'll be going to 2 minutes of ads. We'll be back for oh, this is Ace Match, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, tied up 3-3. Final game of the final Corsair Cup. What a fitting finish. We'll see you guys soon. Oh, okay, guys. We're back. And it's game 7. This has gone all the way to the Ace Match, and I couldn't be happier for the way this finals has played out. The real question at this point, though, is who takes it home from here. Spotting to the lower right, we have the blue Zerg player, Nerchio.
In the top left is the red Protoss. He is Neeb.
Thank you very much, Texas. Another couple bucks coming to say, if you spend your day sitting in a well, would you say it was well spent? Hey, Texas, I got one right back for you. Why did the partially blind man fall down the well? He couldn't see that well. This is where you say, oh, you. I need some validation.
Oh, you.
Oh, thank you. So here's the thing, guys. I want to talk about real quick before we get through the game, before we all disappear, before the tournament's all over and done. I actually have some things I want to talk about specifically regarding Corsair and the end of our sponsorship. A little bit in terms of like what we're doing and planning to go forward with all this information. So I hope you guys will stick around for that post-series, but the TLDR for those who really just can't be here and won't be here is it's just the end of 2 years. We worked together, we had our ups, we had our downs, and we're going separate ways, so there's that.
Mommy and Daddy still love you, just not each other.
Yeah, now you get 2 Christmases.
Does Corsair sponsor anything else in StarCraft?
Oh, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about, actually. But like I said, we'll save that for after the tournament's all over.
I was trying to think.
Splice, I guess, by the way.
I think I do. Oh, yeah, you're right. I think I do a poor job of looking at who sponsors who most of the time. Like, Ballistics is pretty big for BlizzCon, Blizzard Caster them. But then there's, I had no idea. I had no idea they sponsored Team Liquid. I think that was nothing but good for them. Actually, I don't know how much they paid, so that's I shouldn't say that.
I have a rough approximation from talking to drunk people how much they paid, and I'm like, was it though?
Maybe. I think Ballistics solidified themselves as an awesome tournament, or sorry, an awesome sponsor for StarCraft 2, and they'll be nothing but given praise for. But that, you know, what is that really worth? But anyways, I had no idea they were sponsored by Team Liquid. I had to literally watch an ad play in front of me after like 5 times playing that ad to be like, oh, they're using Team Liquid. Oh.
Yeah, I only included it because Team Liquid is tweeting about them a ton while you guys are doing those cups. Yeah. That's another thing too. I know how much money they put in that cup. I know what the viewership looked like, and that's another like, was it though? Anyways, we'll talk about that some time. Talk about it later. This game is already going to maybe get a bit spicy. Some Lynx can catch the Stalker, which is totally out of position, trying to chase his Overlord. Oh, and he realizes too. Like, that was some very good decision making to pull that back.
Yeah. Well, this is annoying, but unfortunately, reality of playing Protoss, your walls aren't going to be that fast, especially if you try and build the Stargate in the main. Like, you put it out front, but maybe it gets scouted. Maybe that's worth the wall. Maybe it isn't. 2 probes are killed. Maybe a third one. Nah, probably not a third one. A little bit of denial of mining, but the wall is set. No more lings in here.
There ain't no lings on us. There ain't no lings on us. There might be lings on some of you guys, but there ain't no lings on us.
What is it even from?
Instead of ants.
Oh, ants? Wait,
okay.
no.
Never mind.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I was like, Ants the movie? You watched that?
I realized that's what you were cluing into. I was like, never mind. But I did watch that, by the way. Side note, that and A Bug's Life for the shit when I was growing up.
Because they both came around at the same time. That was back when DreamWorks was just copying everything Pixar did.
As if that's changed since then. I actually did not realize too, as a young impressionable child, I did not realize it was two separate movies. I always thought it was the same movie.
I don't even blame you. Right, like when you look at it now, you realize how weirdly different. Like, Ants was so mature looking, like they were trying to make them like nitty gritty, and it was so weird for being a cartoon. Bug's Life was very cartoonish, but I mean, it has changed, hasn't it? Because DreamWorks did like Shrek, which I can't think of an equivalent for Pixar, and Panda movie, and those are good.
Panda movie.
Yeah, that was.
You can't remember Kung Fu Panda. It comes Panda movie.
Whatever, man.
Actually, on that note, whatever happened to Gung Fu Panda, that European Protoss? That guy was rising through the ranks pretty well last year. It's kind of occurred to me we haven't seen him in forever.
It feels like it's like he was a child prodigy and then he grew up. Like there's some people that started off really well at Legacy of the Void, and then they stopped, I guess, because everyone else got used to it too. Maybe he just didn't have passion after that.
Maybe. Or money. That's the sad thing, like it's tough. A lot of these guys who aren't making like the top WCS circuits or regular finishes, like yeah, don't get me wrong, guys, Blizzard's done a great job. They pay out a lot of money to a really lot of places, like paying a round of 32, paying a round of 64 in some cases, but these guys, that's like that's once in a while. It's hard to make a living off that.
It's true. Well, a lot more important things are happening. Neeb went to look like he was going to take a third base, or hey, maybe even a fourth, the Anova Square, but he wasn't taking any other base at all.
Ooh, but it's also important.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Whether Nerchio realizes this was coming or not, reality is he's picking off these sentries before the fight really gets underway. Those sentries dying now is huge because it's Hydralisks that are going to eventually be coming out. But for now, with just Zerglings, Nerchio's doing a pretty good job handling this. Now, I don't think he can hold what he currently has, but it's not going too badly. Plus, one's going to finish up shortly too. 3 more Queens cooking out. He's picked off most of the sentries. Now he's getting surrounded with the Stalkers. This is starting to look manageable. GG.
GG.
Oh, Nerchio takes the series 4-3.
Ah, nice catch in the sentries.
Very nicely done. That was an attack that was super supposed to demolish Nerchio too. Like, but that's gonna be that. No more lives to fall back on, and Neeb will sadly be second place in this tournament. But at the same time, it's cool to see Nerchio beat Neeb.
Yeah, it's been like a little like wonky. Like, is Nerchio, so like one of the best European Zergs, or is he being outclassed by some young talent? And, well, that was a very, very solid. Beating Neeb's always a great victory.
Well, with that, officially ends all of our involvement with Corsair, which is a little bit of a sad feeling. And this is going to lead into what I wanted to talk to here briefly, guys, before we do commercials, before everybody disappears. So, before I say what I'm going to say, I want to make this clear. I still really enjoy Corsair as a company. I enjoy their products. Like, as an actual non-biased recommendation, I would still tell you to get these headsets. Like, all these things, good vibes, good things. But there's sometimes something that happens with StarCraft fans that I want to separate here, or at least try to separate here. Because if you still want to be a fan of Corsair, please, I'm using a Corsair 1 computer. I'm going to be using this for the next year or two. Like, again, I'm still pro Corsair. But there are some of you out there who are probably just pro Corsair because they support StarCraft, right? Oh, it's a company, they support the game I love, they support the scene I love, let's blind faith give them love. And this happens for good and for bad in some situations, but I want to make this separation here, and I'm actually going to be reading this quote from an email I got from them, right? Well, not verbatim, because there's some sensitive information in here, but basically they're choosing not to renew our sponsorship in 2018. This is, again, something we kind of expected, mutual, whatever. Please know that this has nothing to do with performance of BaseTradeTV. Like, they were stoked with our numbers. We did a good job representing them. But they are shifting away from StarCraft 2 specifically. And they're looking to invest in other titles. Okay. So that kind of sucks and feels a little bit sad. But they're still a good company. They're still good products. That's the part I really want to emphasize here. But if you are one of the blind faith folks who are just like, oh, I'm supporting blank because they support the scene, because they support our game, they're still going to have presence in StarCraft 2 through sponsorships of other teams like Splice and whoever else they're involved with. But that line right there is the one thing I really wanted to bring up with the cast, where it's like, that's a pretty big deal. That's something where it's like if they are pulling out of StarCraft and you are only supporting them because of StarCraft, you should then take the time to critically think for yourself, do I still want to support? Do I still want to buy these products? Do I still want to give my love to this company type thing? I know I will be, because I enjoy their products and I enjoy what they do and I enjoy the quality, etc. And I enjoy the memes and I enjoy that some of my friends work at the company. But that's for you guys to decide going forward how you want to handle future product purchases. And I would just advise that if you're doing it because it is blind faith StarCraft 2, maybe rethink it. But again, objectively, I like Corsair. I'm still going to use Corsair Gear, and they did great things to support us for 2 years, to support the channel, support StarCraft 2. Like 2 years of a tournament. Like, there's not a lot of tournaments that have long histories like that. But on that note of long history tournaments on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific, well, the Corsair Cup won't be here going forward. We're still going to be doing StarCraft 2 tournaments featuring the European region. This time slot on a Monday has just really been something we've been doing for like years at this point. So we're going to continue this. The problem is we don't actually have a sponsor for this yet, with an asterisk. Like I said, there's this whole big event, this 3-month-long thing. Like, we were supposed to really have this good to go by now, but between the Christmas season and people just literally not being available or reachable through the Christmas season, this didn't get solidified in time. Ideally, starting in February, we should have the BTSL kicking off. And I've mentioned this several times at the cast and several times in previous streams, where it's going to be, you know, instead of Corsair Cup on Mondays, it'll be BTSL Europe. Because take this back to Legacy of the Void Beta, it was the Lycan League. Take this back before then, it was something else. Like, we have, for like 3.5 years now, been hosting a tournament on Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific for the European region. And it's gone under so many different brandings and so many different names. It really made me sit here and think, like, why don't we just brand it? Like, why is it not our thing? We're doing all the running, the adminning, the casting anyways. Like, let's just stop giving the name title to somebody else and keep it simple, so that, you know, 2.5 years, if we swap sponsors out, we don't have to change the title of the tournament again. We don't have to change the branding of the tournament again, like we've had to do for the last 3 or 4 times over the last 3.5 years. So, going forward, we're going to have all of our little various cups just be united under one base trade related tag, one BaseTradeTV related name. But that's all going to be starting at like February-ish. For January, like I said, though, our schedule's all over the place. I've got to get that updated. The only key thing you need to mark down on your calendars for now is January 4th, 2 days from now. We'll be hosting a 2v2 qualifier, double elimination. It's an $800, hopefully, plus tournament. We haven't set up on Match Reno yet, but between BaseTradeTV investment plus Brian's investment, $800, easy peasy to start with, no problem. So, should be a pretty good 2v2 league. And we got really good players. Like, if you guys didn't see, I've actually updated since the cast started some of the names on that list. The invited teams so far: Optimus and Euthermal, Harstem and a Laser, BCQD and Nerchio, and Lily Canine and a player named Knight. So we got spots for 4 more teams. We're gonna do GSL style groups. TVT should be, or not TVT, 2v2s, excuse me, should be interesting, I think. But we're gonna go to commercial break, come back, we'll say our actual goodbyes. There's the information. Now you guys can assimilate, prepare for January, enjoy what we have hopefully coming in February, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Thanks for watching.